Hey, 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 what's up, sports fans? It's your man, Sean, with the F What You Heard Sportscast slash podcast slash YouTube channel. Here to hit you with the real talk. I'm the first one that said, hey, it's time for Carolina cut bait with Cam Newton and a lot of other things, not just that. So, like the show, share the show, retweet the show, do whatever, get the word out that your man be spitting the straight fire and letting you know exactly what needs to be done, what needs to be said, week in, week out. Let's go. All right. So, as the NFL season continues to round into shape, and teams are figuring out who they are, we're hoping that we can see some clear-cut favorites. We have some divisional leaders across all the divisions. I'm not going to spot off all. You can go and look at everything. There's enough information out there. Real sports fans probably take a look and see who division leaders are and stuff like that. So I'm not going to get into all of that right now. But there's some clear-cut kind of favorites rising to the cream of the crop. So let's just not get ahead of ourselves and crown anybody champ of this or champ of that or going to the Super Bowl. So I think a lot of teams are vulnerable. So let's just continue to see exactly what's happening. So the first thing I want to talk about today are the Kansas City Chiefs. So this past particular week, again, with Matt Moore, fresh out of coaching high school football, has done a great job last week. He did an admirable job. It was a tough game. He played pretty well. Really, in my opinion, probably didn't have his feet under him to the point where he could have won a game. And then I think they were playing Green Bay. So still played really well. Andy Reid did a great, phenomenal job during that game, and then turned right back around and played this the second week and played a really good game, and they won. So kudos to Andy Reid. Kudos for Matt Moore absorbing the playbook and absorbing and taking advantage of, obviously, a great arsenal there, with all the players at his disposal. It's not like he's just coming in and the cabinet and the cupboard is bare. So it's not like he's just elevating some no-name guys like Tom Brady has done over the past umpteen years. So let's not just, go too far with the praise of Matt Moore. So, but let's do let's do praise him at the same time because Andy Reid and they've done a phenomenal job while Patrick Mahomes has been out putting a game plan together and working towards Matt Moore's strengths and not saying, okay, let's just do exactly what we did when Patrick Mahomes was in there. So great win. So next up should be a fairly easy test. They play the Tennessee Titans. Tannehill from the Dolphins. They bench Mariota. So they're figuring out who they are themselves. So this season has been the craziest season of all, in my opinion, over the past several years, where yes, you can see maybe an upset here or there on the schedule, but this year it's just been weird. But I'll touch on that a little later in the show. So let's shift to this. Let's talk about these guys that are right here behind me. So Steelers got a win last week. It wasn't a blowout, and they kind of backed themselves into a win. If it wasn't for a missed field goal at the end, it would have been another L. So you probably have a lot of Steelers fans. Oh, now we've righted the ship and we're 4-4. We're right where we need to be, and blah 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 blah, and probably a whole bunch of other garbage. So I'm not going to be that Steeler fan to say that, okay, yes, we righted the ship. We're right where we need to be. We're second in division. Blah blah blah. No, it's fool's gold. Straight up fool's gold. So if you fall for it, it's like the girl who got a cubic zirconia from her boyfriend and think it's a diamond ring. Nope. That cubic zirconia won't cut nothing. So it's fool's gold. It's a cubic zirconia. It's fake. So any Steeler fan who's putting a whole lot of stock into that win last week, they're not seeing what I see. And what I see is they don't do anything well. Their offensive scheme, and let's just, before I make these points, even if Ben Roethlisberger was not hurt, I think they would still perform the same way they are now. We might have one more win, maybe one more win. But we as a Steelers, I don't play on a team, but as a Steeler fan, Steeler Nation, I'll say this: the Steelers, not we, because I'm not playing again. The Steelers do not do anything well. They do nothing well. The offensive scheme is terrible. And that's with Ben or without Ben. It's terrible. The defensive scheme with Keith Butler is horrible. Minka Fitzpatrick and Joe Hayden have somewhat solidified the back end of the defense. Bush in the middle now seems to be a viable replacement for Ryan Shazier. Up and down the defensive line, you have some very good players. Bud Dupree, TJ Watt, our own South Carolina State graduate, Javon Hargrave, and that other monster in there, Cam Hayward. But the scheme is just so flawed. They don't set the edge. They're so intent on getting to the passer. Screen plays. We get gutted up the middle on the run game. We just don't do anything well. And from what I can ascertain, the head coach has not put his stamp on the side of the ball in which he comes from, which is the defensive side of the ball. He was a DB's coach, defensive coordinator, But I see no marketable improvement in the ragtag bunch of guys back there in which he's supposed to be in my opinion, he's supposed to be an expert in coaching. I see no marketable improvement from that position. I see no marketable improvement in the guys we draft in those positions. So finally, by free agency, we have wholesaled maybe a part of our future because of it, because we have failed to draft well at that position. We have some decent guys back there. Minka Fitzpatrick seems to be an awesome I have to see exactly, what position he's playing. I think he's playing safety, slash DB. He's roaming around back there, and Joe Hayden's playing safety slash cornerback, maybe in the slot and stuff like that, covering the slot guys, tight in the slot. So, but anyway, um, head to toe, our defensive scheme is terrible. They never should have gotten rid of Dick LeBeau. We gave him a raw deal, just like we gave Bruce Arians a raw deal. So, in my opinion, we should have hired Bruce Arians prior to Tomlin and kept Dick LeBeau around, and we wouldn't have underachieved with AB, Le'Veon, and Big Ben for all those years. So we totally underachieved under the tutelage of Mike Tomlin during the Killer Bees time frame. The Killer Bees. Why couldn't Tomlin get the Killer Bees over the hump and win anything? Why? Because he's a horrible coach. He's a horrible coach. So is Keith Butler. And so is whoever is calling the offensive plays. I'm so pissed off at my team, I don't even know who's calling the plays. So the standard is a bunch of garbage to keep everybody happy and to keep the media off of his back. The standard is the standard, and we know blah, 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 blah. Get this clown out of town, man. I said it before, and I'll mention it right quick, and then I'll move on to my next topic. Rex Ryan won 2 AFC championship games, or went to 2 AFC championship games, with the likelihood of Mr. Butt Fumble, Mark Sanchez. Let that stick in your brain for a minute. And we underachieve with so much talent. A Hall of Fame quarterback, a quote-unquote Hall of Fame talent at wide receiver, and then another one at running back. Couldn't get over the hump for whatever reason. Sounds like coaching to me. Equals up to coaching to me. Let's move to this. The Seattle Seahawks. I am just in constant amazement of Russell Wilson. He's never had a dominant offensive guy on a side of the ball with him. Never a great talent. They brought over Jimmy Graham, in which he really didn't do well with them. He played okay, and he was supposed to be a top flight tight end, but he didn't fare very well after leaving the Saints, coming to Seattle. Now he's with Green Bay, playing pretty decent, but we don't even hear his name called a whole lot anymore. So he's never done it with a uber talented wide receiver, running back, tight end, zero zilch nada on the offensive side of the ball. And he continues to play well, a la Tom Brady, with plug and play. You put a guy on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to get him spun up, and we're going to do work. You say, let's go. Let's get it. So I've always been a fan of his when he went from, NC State to Wisconsin and then into the NFL. Always been a super fan from a distance of his. Um, and and he just continues to amaze me um, with his on the field as well as his off the field acumen. So he's amazing. Again, a lot of these people I don't know. He seems to be an amazing guy, does amazing things on and off the field. So Pete Carroll has done a phenomenal job. The Legion of Boom is no more. They seem to have, with Bobby Wagner and a couple other guys, Earl Thomas is gone. Cam Chancellor retired. Richard Sherman gone. So without the Legion of Boom, Bobby Wagner and maybe a couple other guys, Michael Bennett's gone. A couple other guys maybe still on the defense or a bunch of new guys. They got Jadeveon Clowney, so that's helped with the pass rush and a couple other things. So they seem to be doing a serviceable job on defense, and Russell just dropping dimes left and right, up and down the field. Sometimes without a great offensive line, and we were probably worried a couple years ago, oh, he's taking too many shots, he's getting sacked too much. Again, without a plethora of weapons on his side, in my opinion, he's one pass away, one terrible play call away from being a two-time Super Bowl champion. You could say he had, Marshawn Lynch as a kind of a dominant running back, but he was on the tail end of his career. So I would like to see Russell Wilson for the next 3 to 5 years, potentially, they get him some help at running back. It seems that, I think Carson is his name, seems to be a pretty decent running back, but I would still be probing the draft and looking to find the next stud to tag team with Russell Wilson for the next 3 to 5 years, probably longer. He deserves it. He needs it. I would be looking for that guy, and keep Carson, run a two tailback system, and then if Carson, the tread on his tire gets a little low, then you can move on from him, and then you'll have the next guy up. You know what I mean? So, but he's done it with smoke and mirrors a lot of times. So, amazing. Can't say enough about Russell Wilson and what the Seattle Seahawks have done. And it just shows you what a good coach, not what we got, a good coach can do, as well as a good GM. And you can see Pete Carroll fingerprints all over the offense. So, but kudos to those guys. I look to continue to be amazed the rest of the season. They have a very good record. Their current record is 6-2, I believe. So they have a very good record. I can see them being contenders. They probably have to do a couple things on the defense to shore up some things and maybe be in the Super Bowl again. But I would say the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFC, from my perspective, San Francisco, Seattle, Green Bay got smacked around last week, but Green Bay and 1 or 2 other teams. So let's shift to this. To me, my surprise team of the season is the Buffalo Bills. So Josh Allen and Sean McDermott are quietly piling up wins. They're just flying under the radar and piling up wins. So you can say they have the second or third best record in the AFC at 6-2. They're tied with the Ravens followed by the Texans and the Chiefs at 6-3. So again, they're my dark horse to go to the Super Bowl. I think they have enough talent. He's only on his second year as a QB, so I think they have enough talent. And they've done a masterful job of what appears to be a spoon feeding him, not giving him too much, but giving him just enough. And so he's a competent and seems to be a capable quarterback. And we have seen in the past that game managers can, in fact, win the Super Bowl. So they had a Hall of Famer in Jim Kelly who went to 4 straight Super Bowls and couldn't win. 4 straight Super Bowls and couldn't win. It might just be in the luck of the draw that this year the Buffalo Bills, and you'll hear it here first, that the Buffalo Bills will go to the Super Bowl. Amazingly enough, I think they can pull off some shockers. I see them getting into the playoffs. They're not going to win their division, but I think their record will be good enough to be a wild card team. Win. I don't know if they'll have to play New England. It all depends on how it shapes up. But they could somehow play New England. They played New England well the first time this year. They're going to play them again. We'll see what happens second time around. They may get dominated. I don't know. We'll see. But I see them getting into the playoffs, and they can, in my opinion, they might just shake some people up, shake some things up, go off on a playoff run. At a minimum, I definitely can see them getting into the AFC Championship, if not all the way to the Super Bowl. So you heard it here first. Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl bound. Boom. That's my hot take for today. All right. Let's move to this. And before I go into my 2-minute rant, there's not a lot of games. I haven't picked games in a couple weeks, so I'm going to go ahead and pick a couple games this week. There's not a whole lot of games that intrigue me or I think are super matchups or anything of that nature, but there are a couple games that should be very good games in my opinion, and should live up to the bill. And I'm pretty sure, as usual, there's going to be a couple of weird, wild upsets that flip the script, and teams that should win lose, and teams that should lose, they win. So, but here's a couple games that I'm going to pick. So, I'm intrigued about the team that I just mentioned, the Buffalo Bills, and whether they can continue to pile up wins. They go into Cleveland. They play Cleveland. Cleveland is reeling. They went to Denver, lost to Denver when everybody was saying that they were going to win that game. This is a dangerous one. Cleveland shouldn't win this game. I'm picking Buffalo to win this game. I think they should win pretty easily, in my opinion. Not that, Josh Allen is, some super talented quarterback as of right now. He does a really good job, and then at times he doesn't do a good job. But I see them winning 21-10 or like 24-10. So Buffalo Bills going to Cleveland and beat up on the downtrodden Cleveland Browns and give them another L and really kind of put them out their misery. So that's what I'm looking to happen. That's what I'm looking to happen. So in that game. So the next game, the Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers. Carolina has been doing well over the past couple of weeks. Kyle Allen. It just came out that Cam Newton is put on IR and is done for the season. Go and rewind the tape. Go and watch my other podcast. I told you that Cam Newton was done and the Panthers should trade him. It's time for him to go. So, but I got the Green Bay Packers winning this game. They're coming off a loss out in LA. The Chargers just smacked them around and took their lunch money. So the Packers are back in Lambeau. I see them winning easily. And they're probably going to rattle Kyle Allen, put on a pass rush, turn them over a couple times, and I think they should win in what might be a shootout, to me, 21-24. So the next game, Los Angeles Rams and the Pittsburgh Steelers. My horrible Steelers. The Rams are coming into town. They're coming off a bye. They should beat the brakes off us. That's what I got going on. I don't know the score. 31-17. Minnesota Vikings, Sunday night game against Dallas. Dallas played well against the horrible Giants. This week to me should be a real test of what they're really made of. They seem to play well against sorry teams, Dallas does, and play not so well against good teams. So a good team is coming to town. Kirk Cousins doesn't play well in primetime games, but I'm picking him anyway in this primetime game. I'm not going to give you a score. I'm just going to pick the Vikings probably in a tight game. And lastly, the Monday night game, which should be, like gangbusters. You got Seattle Seahawks going to the San Francisco 49ers. Richard Sherman's playing his old team. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing out of his mind. Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind. So I see a tight game. The defenses play well. San Francisco defense, again, gets after Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson has some wheels and will not let them get the best of him. So I see them, the San Francisco 49ers, winning a tight game, 21-20. All right. It's that time. It's that time. My 2-minute rant. Here it is. So, and it's not about a team. It's not about a player. It's all about what's happening right now in the NFL. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't know what we don't know. If you think a team is going to win, they're going to lose. If you think a team is going to lose, they're going to win. So Vegas is making a ton of money off people. People, stop betting. Stop betting right now. If you've been betting on these NFL games, stop it. Because I know you've been losing your shirt left and right. Stop it. I can't predict anything. Nobody out there can predict winners. And it's just been crazy all year long. All year long. I think it's going to continue up until like week 13. So 3 more weeks of just craziness. And then I think those bottom dwellers will just give up. They'll give up the good fight. They won't fight anymore. And the good teams will just whip them handily on a week in and week out basis through the end of the year. So it's just been crazy. Case in point, like I said just a minute ago, the Chargers just slapped Green Bay around out there. Those guys went out there and just got a boot stuck in their butt. And I'm surprised that Aaron Rodgers didn't say he was seeing ghosts too. It was just crazy. So Denver beating the Browns. Nobody said, thought that would happen. Sam Darnold, they thought he would make the leap from year 1 to year 2 this year. And he couldn't even get a win against the winless Dolphins. He beat the Cowgirls, so I was happy about that. But he couldn't even beat the lowly Dolphins. So week in and week out, we don't know who's going to win. It's crazy. Keep your money in your pocket. Keep your money in the bank. Bet on something else. Do not bet on LeBron and the Lakers. Bet on Kawhi and the Clippers. But do not bet on NFL football. You will lose your money in the blink of an eye, and don't do it. So, appreciate everybody tuning in this week. Like the show. Share this video from YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter at Judgmental Mind. I like to know what you think, what you like, what you don't like. Appreciate everything. Love you guys. Till next week.